Good evening. I need to apologise for yesterday's abrupt stream ending. Unfortunately, my internet died, and of course, without the internet, I couldn't even say goodbye, could I? I don't really get much of a phone signal here, so I couldn't even do much with that. So I do very much apologise for yesterday's abruptness. It's like power cuts. Why is it? Here's a question for all of you, especially the British. In England, I'm 52. I've seen a few power cuts in my time, and they're not common, but I've seen a few. How come they never start at 1:23? It's always 1 o'clock, 1:30. It is never 12:19. And we all know that sometimes the power goes and then they throw everybody else because they need to work in safety without power going through certain parts. So they take more power down. But ever since I've moved to this house, well, it's not quite true. When I first moved to this part of the country, power cuts were really common. I'm talking once a week. And it was always joked that a certain building around here was the cause. But it stopped. Probably 6-9 months in, it stopped. Because the first few times really alarmed me because I hadn't seen a power cut for a long time. My previous house, I lived there 5 years, and all that time there was one power cut, and it was 3 o'clock. And it was almost Christmas Day. It was 3 o'clock in the afternoon, and nearly everybody had the Sunday roast on. And literally, out of a house of 66 places, with 66 places to live, 66 angry people leapt out on the road, kind of going, "What the heck are you doing?" And there was a man at the electricity meter, and he saw the pitchforks, and he fled. I have never seen a man run so fast. But in kind of the whole time I'd moved out of home, that was the first power cut. And then I moved up here, and well, as I said, it was weekly. And it was, I was quite alarmed, because, that's quite a lot. And, there was me floating around minding my own business, and suddenly, plunged into darkness. Now, okay, it was during the day. It's, when most people were at work. So chances are no one would really notice. But, there was me. I was signed off sick. And, there were some people in our road who were retired. So it was, it got noticed. And I don't know, after that, there were a few power cuts. There was one epic one that was 2 or 3 days long. That was really not funny, because it was slap bang in the middle of the really cold bit of winter, to the point that me and my ex-husband had to order takeout, and we went down KFC. We ordered 2 chicken buckets, one to eat and one to put in the bed to warm it up. So, because we were in bed clothed with the dog, not quite as rude as it sounds, but clothed with the dogs, to try and keep warm, because of course, well, like everything, once you're cold, that's it. It seems to be forever till you're warm. So we did try, but we did do that. We did buy 2 buckets, one to use as kind of a hot water bottle and one to eat. Because most of the local takeout places were closed because it was a huge area that was affected. And it was a big thing, and but again, it was an accidental thing. But when I've moved here, we've had quite a few. And they never seem to be for half an hour. It's 6 or 7 hours. Don't get me wrong. As someone who now works from home, we've had a few since 2020. Now, I'm not saying we didn't have some before 2020, but we've had some since 2020 when I started working from home. And some of them have been most of the day on a work day. Anyway, so I do apologise for the lack of internet yesterday. It just crapped out on me. That was really kind. But the good news, I got me a Stream Deck, so I can press magic buttons and they light up and everything. So I can have a bit more of a visual thing in my eye line. Not quite in my eye line, but more in my eye line to confirm to me what you're looking at. And I can press pretty bitches and I haven't set it up as much as maybe I could do. But I have a few buttons, so that's a good thing. It helps me and it means I don't have to faff around quite so much with the actual application. So if I want to swap scenes now, it's not 2 clicks, it's 1 click. It also means, for example, I could put different things on my screen a bit and readjust that a little bit more. Anyway, it is time. So this is where we left off yesterday. All I did was cover it up. We did this bit of ground. We did this bit of ground here, which is towards the middle. The middle, of course, is here. So that bit is the bit last time we did the other stitch on as a trial. We've done the cloth bit, and we're now up for the cloth bit. And the internet died just as I was counting and confirming whether or not I'd screwed up or not. So it was kind of almost an epic cliffhanger because, you know, pretty much I know it dropped out as I was saying, actually, I think I'm all right. So here's my working pair. 1, 2, 3, 4. There is actually another pair somewhere here. 5. So that's the 6 pairs. This pair goes out now. So this comes across, the 5 comes across, goes to the other side, comes back, we throw one out. So at one point, technically we're 4, but we pick up the 5th. So I'm as confident as I can be I haven't screwed up. But as we all know from the really gross picture that we ended up making over the weekend, that, well, there's just room for doubt. Because, well, there's room for doubt. So these 2 are already out because that way I don't mess with them. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And in part, some of the problem is as simple because that's right, my brain knew that was wrong. That doesn't feel right. Hang on. You're supposed to go over for starters. There we go. I knew something wasn't right. Now, part of me still is not convinced I'm as right as I think I am. Let me have a look at my picture again. Because we only really did up to the first corner. We didn't complete. You're going to open the wrong program. Paint. I installed GIMP, which is a free paint shop thing. So, let's have a quick have a quick look at this. So here is my ugliness, and so and of course now my mouse pointer disappears. I hate Windows for this. Oh, we'll change the mouse pointer to be something useful. Yeah, it's like 2 pixels. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I'm marking the step numbers. 6, 7, 8, 9. By the way, I can't write very well with the mouse, can you tell? 10. Let's put on the outside. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19. Oops, that looks really terrible. That looks even worse than my usual ugly terribleness. 21, 22. Let's put the other 2 in front then. 23, 24, 25. I wish I'm making it smaller at this point. 26, 27, 28. So there are 28 steps, and we've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then says check in. 8, 9, 10. Yep, that still looks like it's adding up. 11, 12, 13. So it's saying there will be 6 by the time we come back to number 13. But that's not true. This is not true. This should be... Sorry, that is true, but not true at the same time. So, pin at 5 minus 1. So so 11, sorry, 11 was 5, that's fine. At 12, you pin 5 minus 1, which is, you then plus 1, pin, which is 5. And then this continues, so you go to the other side and it'll be 5 minus 1 becomes 4, plus 1 becomes 5, minus 1's 4, plus 1 becomes 5. This one you don't throw 1 out, so this is still 5, plus 1 becomes 6, but you throw 1 out, so on the way back it's 5, 6, 5, 6. Are we picking up going that way? That's not right. And then, so, hello people, my brain has exploded again. Right, so, let's think. We know at 13 we have 5, 4, 5, 4, 5. We don't chuck 1 out, so that's 5. And pin, and it stays. We gain 1 the other side, so we are 6, but we then throw 1 out, so we become 5. We can come back 6, 5, 6, 5. 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Okay, so 4 is fine. This is why I always said this gets really confusing, because in one direction you're only going over 4 bobbins, not 6. So I am not losing my marbles. I have mathematically and logically proved to myself that, well, that's just the way it works. So, even though your brain says, surely it should be the same going both directions, the answer is no. Because we do one, and then we chuck one. So now, 1, 2, 3, well, that's not right. I've missed a thing, so that's why that didn't add up, because you were not the end. So let's take you out, undo the twists. Didn't too many twists anyway, which means you are wrong. You are over and under. You came under, so you're under, over, under, which is right, and you go over, under. No, that's right. There. Now we put the pin in. Give it all a little bit of attention. Twist these 2 and get rid of 2. So out of 6, which we had when we started, we've now only got 4, because we chucked one, went to the other side, came back and chucked one. So this is right. Now we come to add, go away, you're not welcome yet. We come to the point where we need to add 1. So there will be 5 at the end of this row. So now there's 5. So it kind of pivots round the, 5 bobbins. Sometimes there's 6 because you add 1 and then work your way across, and sometimes you lose 1 and work your way across. And why do I feel like I missed a pin? No, it's just the fact that you're in there and I can't see you. Okay. So I was going to start streaming earlier, but a guy who I watch quite frequently was streaming earlier today, and I wasn't giving it a lot of attention, to be honest, until he brought his dad on. Now that sounds like a real kind of. I just realised I didn't press my button again. There you go. Should have said. And he brought his dad on, and for most of us, the idea of bringing our dads or our parents into these things is kind of, I don't know, not your first thought. But this guy's dad has worked many years in the games industry. And he was interviewing his dad on a more semi-official kind of manner. It wasn't like, yo, dad, but he also wasn't 100%, deathly serious. And his dad is a scream. So I apologise, but I was watching this bloke who worked on a number of games I played, as it turns out. Not that you necessarily are overly aware of the people who write the games that you play, but Yeah, I mean, you know there are developers, but most people could, if I told you to pick your favourite game, half the people, especially when it comes to phone games, can't even tell you the name of the company who wrote it, let alone the people who wrote it. So, there is. It is not uncommon not to be aware, but to see this guy who's worked on, as I say, many games that I've played, and he has a great sense of humour, so I was enjoying that because, well, frankly, humour is something that seems to be mainly lacking in the universe today, and, well, you have to get it while you can. So, and that was the most enjoyable thing. Apparently his dad is going to start streaming at some point, which would be quite nice. I'll probably watch some of those. I think they'll be well worth a watch. Depends what he talks about, of course. I mean, it could be... But it has potential. Go over. Stupid bobbin. So yes. But I am back. The world did not end. She says, looking at her other cloth underneath the pile of bobbins that she hasn't sorted out yet. Wanting more cloths. What there really, really needs to be is some method of making a bridge for the thread to go over the pins, but that you can still get at the pins somehow. That would be helpful. Finally put my heating on today. Well, last night. I rejigged the entire schedule, mind, but finally turned the heating on because it was getting really, really cold. It was getting cold enough in the house that I needed to turn it on a few times a day, if nothing else, just to stop it from getting proper cold in here. And of course, if you're doing that, well, so I set the heating to automatically do that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I've set my heating to come on a couple of times a day, just for a little bit, just to stop it getting proper cold. And it's not on now, but as you may recall from some previous things, for whatever reason, the light that I've got above the cushion makes me feel hot, even though, I mean, it's warm to the touch. I mean, I wouldn't drink a cup of tea that cold, but it's warm, right? It's in that level of tea that's kind of disgusting, where it's not cold, but it's not warm either, you know? So, I don't know. But for some reason, it often makes me feel quite hot when I'm doing this, and then it wears off a bit. So, I'll put my jumper back on again in a minute, because that will be a thing. Ooh, hands in a bit. Deep breath, deep breath. I've made a faux pas. So, unpin that, stab. Work our way back. Is that going to be back far enough? Nope, don't think it is. Stamped you in the cushion, thank you. There you go. Now you might be with a bit of jiggery pokery from my bogatier stick. I missed a pin. So what I need to do is loosen you. I can move you up then. I'll lift you up a bit. Into that hole there. And then you become that hole there. There you go. Pokey stick. one. Got a pin. So use that pin. One, two, three, four, five. If you're going to be naughty all night, this is not going to work. There we go, back from overts. That's something I could set up on my Stream Deck. I have a little thing that pops up on my desktop and goes bing. But I could also have a button on my deck that says ads are running. Problem is by turning the cushion to make it so I've got a bit more space to work in, I know it puts me off. So, we shall see. this is our corner pin here, at which point we do not lose one, because, well, we just don't. At this point, so I should put some twists on that, and then ping, says the phone. I'm gonna scrunch you round back out of sight, because we won't be needing you for a while. Was that you, dog? Was that you? Now, we're going to twist and move, because these have come off cloth stitch, so we need to add a twist in, because they don't have one. Twist and move. 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 Stay over there, go on. Twist and twist. Now, these ones coming off the bottom of this bit of cloth stitch, you're with you. You've mated round as many frigging pins as you were able. Right. Now, for goodness sake. Right. Now, we want to check all of these that are going to be potential. So, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Huh? Seriously, did you just internet fart again? Did you just internet fart again? Oh, I haven't got the patience for this. It's been fine all day. It's you two. It's you two. You're next to, which doesn't seem to be in sync. Okay, this is going to get annoying. One, two, three, four. It's because there's two more under here somewhere. Should be you two. And yet, we need a lot more room. And more cloths. Distinctly, a lot more cloths. I'm going out those bobbins from underneath the cloth. back again. Right. I have another cloth now. The evil bobbins have been evicted from here. So this goes over those. Now, there's one. There's number 2. There's number 3. But you're not really long enough. It's number 4. Now, number 5. See, this actually comes off the pimple. So that is correct. This is factually correct. All of you need a twist. And you can then go back round here, out of the way. Now we have definitely identified everybody. Let's check that we haven't made mistakes already. You are tangled. So you two are next. And I swear I'm going to lock these dogs away in a minute. You are not helping my furry friends. You really are not. Not today. Nothing is helping today. No. I do not have the patience for today. Those are the rose grounds to come. This is the first rose ground, and they need crosses. And I need 2 of you. You looked like you had too many crosses, but you were good. So, yeah, my internet farted. Hopefully you are still there. It says you're all still there. So what would be nice is if I could stream in a much higher resolution. As we seem to be struggling to achieve, frankly, resolution, let alone a decent resolution. I suppose I should be grateful. It's so frustrating when it's not something I can fix, or something I can directly do something about. I mean, I could phone my ISP and moan, and all I go was, oh, well, it's not us, because that's what they always say. It's never them. It's never their fault. So yes, that's always the downfall. I'm going to write up my ugly chart thing into a more printable, stick it on the wall variety, I think. So, for now, instead of adding bobbins down that side, I'm going to work across the top, I think. lady asked me today where I got the pattern from, and I explained that I had customed my own because I was making this net curtain. And it was almost like she didn't believe me, which was a little bit weird for me because obviously, well, I did, but after much trial and tribulations of some choices and some stitch combos along the way. And it's kind of like, well, what can I say then if you don't believe me? I mean, it is based upon the original square that I made, but I had to move things to make it fit because in the original, this inner square that we're doing now was done in a different stitch, and that stitch was a 3-pin stitch. This is a 2-pin stitch, so I had to change the size and position of the zigzags to make it fit properly. And obviously the inside bit which we're doing in ground stitch here were all spiders, and there were spiders over here, and well, I hated them, so we're not doing that. And it just struck me that, I think I mentioned this with my crochet, was that very quickly after learning to crochet, I am confident enough that I can make a mess, and if I hate it, I hate it. If I don't, I don't. And so I will take a pattern and go, like the general idea, I hate this bit. So, let's say it's a really nice, comfortable jumper, but in the original, they put this really ugly flower in the middle. I'm not into flowers on my clothes. Well, I can do something else with that area, or nothing at all, or both, in effect. And it concerns me that it's a bit like people who follow recipes out of a book. And, unless you scientifically weigh everything out of your book, chances are, that still doesn't look cross, you are going to make the same thing every time. Now, this is not necessarily wrong, but do you never have this idea of, well, I'd really like, tomato soup if it had maybe a bit of kick of heat of chilli in it, or a little sweetness of carrot, or I haven't got enough tomatoes, I need to bolster it with, say, some onions, and I've got a bit of parsnip, and I'll make it a bit more vegetable, but primarily tomato. And I mean, I bought a soup maker. Now, frankly, it's a kettle with a blender at the bottom. Let's not pretend it's anything more glorified. But what you do is you pour your stuff in it with a load of water. It starts boiling it like a kettle, and then when it's warm enough, it kind of keeps it warm enough for a bit, and occasionally it zzz, and blends it a bit. And depending on how, there's a couple of settings of chunky and not chunky kind of thing. Well, it basically makes your soup for you. And, did I follow instructions the first time? Did I? Heck. I looked around my cupboards, I found some things, I cut everything up quite small so that it would cook in a fairly short period of time, because after all, you can't really overcook vegetables in a soup, and especially when you're blending them. And so, I threw in a tin of tomato, pre-peeled tomatoes. I put a bit of tomato puree in it, so it was a bit more tomatoey. I put the creamy part of coconut milk to give it that kind of cream of tomato kind of cream bit, because I didn't actually have cream. I had onions, I had I don't remember what else I had, probably some carrot, and I threw it all in there. Well, why not? I'm making a soup. was glorious. It was a thing of beauty. And part of the reason it was a thing of beauty was A, because it was fresh. I'd made it with bar the tinned tomatoes. Fresh vegetables. It was pureed up, so you didn't want to gag on the vegetable chunks, and I really enjoyed it. And it was kind of like, and I'm sitting there going, how can you not be in a position? How difficult life must be when you don't have the imagination to go, I really like that, but it'd be better with a bit of cheese on top, or be better with a bit of mustard in that. So, for example, macaroni cheese, bit of mustard. If you're making chicken gravy at Christmas here in the UK, at least, cranberry jelly is a thing. Red currant jelly, add a push. Well, add a small amount to your gravy, just to give it a little tang in the right direction. And to me, I feel sad for people who do not feel that they can experiment. Now, sure, some of it's going to taste like dung, and I can advise you, pork and apple is a great and glorious thing. Do not boil your pork chops in apple juice. That's not a thing. That was horrible. That was not a thing to try again. Which is stupid, because cooking it with apples works. But apparently, for some reason, poaching it in apple juice was distinctly not the thing to be tried. That was one of my early disasters in life. But give it a go. The worst thing, unless you're allergic to something, in which case don't be stupid and don't put it in. But chances are it's not going to kill you. It might taste a bit rough, and you'll know never to do it again. Or it could be glorious, and you will have found your next favourite thing. So never be afraid to try. Especially with crafting, unless you cut things, most times you can undo it if it's really looking that awful. And it shouldn't, chances are is it probably doesn't look as awful as you think it does. But even if it does look pretty awful, you can always undo it. Even if we got this far in our triangle and we actually went, I'm not going to do it in white, well then we either rip it out and start again, or we undo it. If I decided that I wanted to change the outer stitch to something else because I'm already sick of the sight of it, well, we could go back to the beginning. It'll be a long, laborious process. But we could. It's not that you can't undo it. So have a little faith in yourself. Try a few things. Start small. Be reasonable. But at the same time, have a little confidence and give it a go. What's the worst that's going to happen? You waste a bit of yarn, or you end up completing it and then hate the end product. Well, if you hate it, but it's only a personal taste level of hate, i.e. it's structurally sound or or whatever it needs to be, then give it to somebody. Probably someone you don't like at work, Hey Karen, I made this and I really thought you'd like it. Ha, says you. Right, that can be a thing. Then she'll feel guilty for being mean to you, and you hated it, so you don't really mind. It's. I'm not suggesting that we hate people at work, but you know what I mean. It's if you give it to Aunt What's Her Name that you never see, who's really eccentric and is into obscure and weird things, she'll probably love it. I made some tea towels, and to me, I hated making them. I hated the way they looked. There were a couple that I was more okay with. I won't say I liked them, but there were some that were more okay. And they were done in I can't think of the exact word for it, clasped weft, that's what it is, which is where instead of throwing yarn from one side to the other, maybe alternating coloured yarns, you throw one across, you loop it round the other one, and you bring them back and you decide randomly, or try to be strategic about it, as to where the join goes, so that you can allegedly make very straight lines. Now, as you may have noticed, I have problems with my eyesight, and some of the problem with my eyesight is that my brain can't unscramble sometimes things that cross. It just freaks out. So, for example, back in the day of the old curly phone cables, if someone was to run one in front of my eyeballs right now, my brain would freak out and it would not know whether to focus on the lace cushion or the curly cable. Even though I want to concentrate on the lace cushion, and obviously the curly cable is a small part of my vision, I can't do it. And if you've got a heated windscreen, I struggle to drive those cars because my brain wants to focus, can't decide whether it's focusing on the small, infinitely small lines that heat the windscreen or where I'm driving. So I don't have a heated windscreen in my car. That's why. Now, you know, it's not a problem because, well, scrapey, that, and I don't go very far. And usually I you know, it will have had all day to warm up, so it's not as bad. Then it's not working at the moment anyway, so... but, you know, so my eyesight can be a bit wonky at the best of times. But with trying to place this class weft, and I would be so confident that my cross points would be between two wefts, and I'd be wrong every single frigging time. But I did manage to make some that I liked, which were more kind of wavy like this. The utterly random ones, yeah, I frigging hated those. Looking a bit more like a seismograph. But that's the way it is. But loads of people loved them. In fact, pretty much everyone loved them, but me. Well, it was just as well, because I gave them all away. So... for that very reason, I hated them. Got a couple in my cupboard somewhere that was supposed to be for someone, and she was supposed to send me her address, and she never did. And I made her some really expensive ones as well, which was a bit of a shame. So they're in my cupboard, waiting. Not quite sure what to do, because, well, I said they were hers. So I'd feel bad giving them away, but that was like nearly 3 years ago, so I really shouldn't. I should feel free to give them away. She's clearly not gonna mail me her address. I know she's still out there, so that's her choice. Oh, for goodness sake, there's a hole in there somewhere. There you go. Get out. One of those daddy long leg type things. So. Why aren't you dead yet? It's cold enough. You're not normally around this time of year. That's right, that was right. Now we need to go to you. Pin you. It's fascinated by the light. It keeps flying at me. Which makes me itch. Because I don't like creepy crawly things. Well, I don't hate them, I just don't like them. So I bought a pair of really cheap earbuds, so that I could, well, you often hear bing in the background, which is the advert thing. The advert notification thing that I've set up. And I wanted to take that away. I wanted to make it a little bit more seamless. I wanted to make it nice. Now somehow doing that doesn't feel right. But it is. I'm sure of it. Yes, it is. But I ran into a really small problem. Well, actually, it's quite a big problem. My computer is pretty much on the end of my foot. It's just kind of down there, down that direction. Apparently the Bluetooth can't cope. It can't make a connection that far. Now I know that there's a layer of foam in between. But seriously, it's like a metre away and it couldn't keep a connection. So I'm going to have to rethink that a little bit. Cables are the biggest problem. Things either come with a 1200 foot cable or it's 2 inches. And I've got my computer desk to the left, that side, by about 4 inches. And on it obviously is my monitor and the microphone and my speaker and my keyboard and my mouse and frankly, you know, and the rest of the world. And a big pile of junk that I, you know, so I've got my drink on there and I've got my pins and you know, various other things. And I can't put it to the right because, well, there's nowhere to put it to the right. There's well, stuff there. So I can't do that. And I could move the computer a little, but then it would be a bit more in the floor and the dogs would run into it, which I don't want to do. I could try and move it a bit more to the right and have the cables come in front of this table, but then if I want to move the table, that becomes really awkward. So life is just never as simple as it should be. But what I did think of is because I'm so used to working with the TV or something on in the background, what of course I could do to make this a little bit less Liz rambles on for the sake of rambling. No, I can't see this hole. Where's the hole? Why can't I find the hole? I didn't puncture these holes. Did I not puncture these holes? I don't think I punctured these holes. Where's my puncturing device? Doesn't feel like I punctured these holes. Which is a bit odd because I checked to look to see if there were any obvious missing bits, and it should have stood out. Oh well. There we go. It's really hard enough to find the holes without the fact that the hole's not there. So I'm trying to make this a better experience for you guys, because I want it to be, for it to be a good experience for you, so that you want to come back and see what I'm up to. I don't expect you to be here every minute of every day. I mean, it would be nice if if everyone who was interested was here each and every time, and the other thing, of course, is if I'm busy watching my bobbins, I'm not looking at the chat. And so occasionally I have missed people saying hello, and I've been late and remiss in saying hello. Well, of course, at the weekend, I helped a friend set up his so that when he's working on his car, he can have it read to him anything that's put in chat. And so having done that, it did strike me as that this was a possible answer for this, which is why I got the headset, the earphones, was so that I could do something similar, so that when someone said something, I would be able to respond without having necessarily to look up. Now, occasionally, of course, maybe someone will type something and the automatic text conversion would read it out really funny, and I'd have to look up to see what the hell it was talking about. But it would mean that, there would be a bit more of I could keep my eye on what I was doing while listening to you, or while listening to an audiobook, in case you're not there. Because that helps my brain cells, because part of the reason I struggle with the streams is I'm having to talk to fill in the gaps a little bit. But also because it hasn't got any incoming things to process, and it gets bored. No offence to your good selves. It gets bored. And by being bored, it starts making mistakes. And then obviously it gets frustrated because it's making mistakes. Because it is so used to having to have multiple input to keep it from not being bored. So, I mean, I was the kid at school who could not concentrate if it was quiet. Which, I don't know. No. You can't concentrate unless it's quiet. Oh, believe me, if it's quiet, my brain's making its own stories and filling in the gaps. And then, of course, it's too busy making its own stories and filling in the gaps to actually do the thing that it's supposed to be doing. So, some of us out here do need the noise. And I told you the other day the story of me and Hey Mona and how it helped me with my A-level marks, because, well, without it, I'd have failed, because I hadn't even written my name on the piece of paper. Because my brain just wasn't interested. It had gone off on one and it was somewhere else. It had gone for a hike and it was far, far away. One rendition of Hey Mona later, and it was all up for it, and it got the paper done in a few minutes, and I got like 98%. So, thank you to Hey Mona. Not words that most people ever thought they'd say. So I kind of do need this background noise, and without it my brain is suffering a little. But clearly it's not going to be through those headsets and my PC at this time. I might be able to do something through my phone. Attach it to my phone, but then I can't have it read me the chat, so it's not ideal. That's 2 pins, not 1. 4,800 million pins later. stab myself with another pin. Done with you for now. You can go for that. You can go for that. Too short. Put you around the corner. You over there. Grab you. Extract you from all the pins. And grab the next four. So. You're a bit short. And you're a bit short, frankly. So this may not be the longest stream of the week, but every little bit counts, does it not? We will work our way to square number one. Idiot. I did do that. It just doesn't look like it. Okay. Not so much the idiot. It just looks a bit wonky at this precise moment. It'll work out in the wash. I can't believe it's only Tuesday. Just has that later in the week quality to it. It's funny, I'm sure many of you have had the same kind of times where days can seem long, but the weeks go by quite quickly, and only yesterday it was March. Or the days don't seem to take too long, and the weeks aren't so bad, but not all weeks are equal. Time is a strange thing. The quicker you want it to go, the slower it most definitely goes. The slower you want it to go, the quicker it goes. And when you're kind of indifferent, well, it just kind of wibbles around a bit drunk, really. It's fast and then it's slow, and some things happen before you know it, and other things seem a mile away, and yet time is constant. How does that work? Time is supposedly constant. But of course you also get the, hey, my day's gone so fast, as you sat there and you swear you've seen it go up to, say, 10 o'clock 3 times in a row. There's always someone going, oh, is it 4 o'clock already? I thought it was the morning. How did you think it was morning? Do your days usually pass that slow? yes, I want this to be a pleasurable experience for you, but I don't know what else I can do. I mean, with all great respect, I'm not spending £1,000 on a camera. If I get, depending on how well things go at work, I mean, next year I could buy something, because technically we get bonuses in kind of April for the end of this. Well, it's for the end of this year, but it's given to us in kind of April. So around that time, there is the potential to upgrade some aspects of it. But until then, kind of, I don't really have replacement camera money. And before you say anything, I think I'm still on like $1.40 for ad revenue. So, because of course there's like one or two of you. If there were 100 of you, then it would be a different story. But I'm pretty confident I'm still on like £1.40 of ad revenue. So, I don't suppose it's going to tell me, is it? No, that's not what I wanted. Is it going to tell me? There we go, that's the thing I want. No, that's not the thing I want. That's not going to tell me. My computer will tell me because it's a good computer. Clickety clickety. $1.39 for 41.5 hours of streaming. So clearly, this is not going to make me Elon Musk, and that's fine. Really didn't expect it to. Really didn't expect it to, and I am not sorely disappointed. But there you go, $1.39. It's going to be a while before we can afford to buy much at $1.39. I use more than that in Thread, so but it would, and it is possibly the best time to remind you, if you want to know when I go live and you want to see more of this. If you want an ad-free viewing experience, if you subscribe, of course the ads will go away. I do not expect you to, it is not a demand. But if you follow, you'll get notified when I'm live, of course. Which is slightly random, I will totally agree. I am trying to go live every day, so that we can get some of this done every day. But it depends a little on dog things, how tired I am, what happened during the day at work. So I don't want to promise a time during the week, but it will always be UK evening time, at least until December, when I'm on paid time off. Once I'm on paid time off, well, I'll have a lot more time and a lot more wants to be finishing this a square or two. Because, well, I'll be at home all day, and if you've ever seen British Christmas TV at Christmas, there isn't really a lot on, so making this will be a thing. And by then, I will have sorted out something maybe for me to listen to, so that if you're not here, I don't feel quite so alone. I did notice 2 people came and went. Clearly I offended them. Bit of a shame. There we go. Definitely running out of room. Covered a bit too much there, but there we go. Do that for the moment. Big hole. I need to stare at this one a little closer. think it is any bigger than its predecessors. It just looks it from by the fact that it's the nearest one. Dog, what have you been eating? Even your sister's offended. Incoming ads. Time for a quick swipe of lip seal. You are definitely too short. Come on, out of there. some more like that. You can come around like this. Still going to be tight on space, because really I want them to come around to here. They could come around a bit more. Try not to tangle them too much. See, that's a bit better. And then I want these, which have now tangled. Right. And those. Getting backache again. My back's never been right since a few weeks ago. If I'd started this a couple of months ago, my back would have been fine. As I said, it's really daft considering I'm sitting on the same couch as I sit on all the time. But the moment I come to do this, my back hurts. So. Never mind. Oh, somebody else has bagged it off. It's sad that people come and go, and if they don't like something, I wish they'd say. I wish they'd kind of go, this looks boring, and wander off. I'm not going to disagree that potentially it isn't boring. It would just be nice to know what people feel is missing. What would encourage someone to stay. Because this isn't going to be a tutorial. I mean, I'm happy to explain what I'm doing, and I've shown you in part before the stitches that I'm doing to make this, and you know, come the right section, I'm happy to show people again. However, if I don't know they want to know, it's, you know, I'm busy making the square. If I had the bandwidth, I'd probably stream on YouTube too. Not that I have many followers on YouTube, but I'd stream there for a little bit of added conversation, perhaps. So, dear viewers, this is the stream you make it. If you do not help me understand what you want, I will not know what to provide. Brain farts. Right, we've finished the roseground square in the middle. If I take this cloth off, can't really, there's 2 layers of bobbins there or I'd reveal the rest of the triangle. But this is where we're at today. I need my pokey stick. There's my no, that's not my pokey stick. Same colour as my pokey stick. There's my pokey stick. So flatten this down a little bit. Like that. Oops. And there is exactly why crochet hooks are not ideal for this, because now you've all mated with the pins. Just go over there. So it's growing. It's growing slowly, admittedly, but arguably I'd say we're halfway there. The halfway line was here, so we are just over halfway now. I mean, the halfway point technically has a little bit there and a little bit there, which is the offset, so I'd say we're kind of halfway down the triangle. Considering we started at the weekend, this is going well. I mean, obviously, if I could do 5 hours in a night without my back going mad and be comfortable with it, then I think, you know, clearly it would grow a lot quicker. But I also think not doing too much so that my brain makes stupid mistakes is quite a crucial part of this at the moment, because obviously I have been prone to making silly little mistakes that I find later, and obviously for a number of the silly mistakes I would have to go and undo. And well, if it's far enough back, you know, what I don't want to do is do a load today and spend tomorrow undoing all of it. So I'm trying to unpick some of these bobbins, and I'm not sure this is the wisest thing I'm going to do today. Let's put this underneath and try and extract you out of here a little. There's a few further down, maybe a bit more wrapped around than others. Okay. There we go. Let's get them out of there. So yes, a pin has come out. Now the question is, where were you from? Catastrophe. Not sure it's really very important, to be honest. I think it's somewhere in the middle, so let's not worry about that one for so much. Actually, let's check down the sides. See anything? I'd already pushed those down. I know where it comes from. Just to be safe and good, I'm going to put it back in that hole there. Here we go. So, as I say, it was a bit of a short one today, but at the same time, I think if I made too many mistakes, and we were spending far too much time undoing that which we'd already done, I think you'd be more disappointed in me than anything else, because undoing it is not a fun game, and I want you to see the good side of lace as well. So I want you to see it grow. I want you to see how I get on with my project. Mistakes are going to be part of it, and we've already undone a couple of little bits because I've spotted I've missed a hole or put 2 pins in the same hole. But for the most part, we're doing quite well, I think. So I want to hear from you. Feel free to contact me in any manner you see fit, to hear if there's things that I could be doing that would make it more interesting for you. Like I said over the weekend, I find, to me, partly I can only feel that this is a bit like watching sport. Sport is great fun to do when you're doing it yourself. Sport can be great fun if you're there and you're emotionally involved with it. Even if you don't specifically know someone there, there is the whole kind of atmosphere. Watching it on TV is very poor. And while lots of people do watch sport on TV, it's nothing like being there. And for many of us, watching sport on TV is enough to go make you do like the washing, the tidying, the painting, because, well, frankly, it's a bit boring. So I want you to be happy. I want to hear from you as to what will make this better. But I will be back tomorrow evening, hopefully a little earlier. Maybe I'll take some painkillers for my back. I was going to today and forgot. But I did get a cup of drink, so I was one up on yesterday. But we are in a position where we're nearly halfway there. We've nearly got all of our bobbins in order. We've got a cloth stitch to go before we do. We've got the cloth stitch here before we do this area of ground. And once we've done that area of ground, it's surprising how little triangle we've got left, because if you think about it, once you've done that, we've only got this small little slither, and then we need to turn the corner, which will be exciting because you've not done that yet. I may cheat and just move the pillow, because I've just realised I didn't start this pillow out the way I thought I did. This should be a movable block. This section here should all be a movable block, and it's the side. So I will be turning the cushion when it comes to turning the corner, because, well, that'll be easiest. And then from there on out, I will potentially be turning the square in the middle, although that's really not that much fun. So I may just continue turning the cushion, because you've got to try and, if you pick up that square, all these bobbins start dangling and jangling together, and then you put it down and they all kind of mix a bit more, and then you've got to sort them out again. Whereas if you just turn the square, all you might need to do is, instead of having the pile of bobbins here, go, well, I'll have pushed all of these down and they'll all be flat, so I can roll them over, so I can move them around a little bit, and ta-da! I mean, that is in part what the cloths are for, so you can move the whole cloth and move all of the bobbins in one go. But obviously there are bobbins underneath here that are flat on the pillow, but there's only a handful of them, so which is why often you put a cloth down first. I didn't, because I haven't got enough. I probably should order some more. That could be a thing. But haven't I got some more cloth to make some out of? Anyway, on that thought, I'm going to leave you for today, and I shall be back tomorrow, and I hope to see you tomorrow evening. Have a good rest of the day wherever you are in the world, and take care. Bye.